meditation, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, inventor of the EE system, the Energy Enhancement System, out of Las Vegas, Nevada. She was the guest speaker. We both shared the pulpit last Sunday on Easter. And she spoke about a beautiful resurrection of the breath of life, which is the aloha that is mixed with that. And my meditation, I dealt with the return back to the oneness, looking at the resurrection or the resurgence of life, the resurgence that is happening within each one of us. So that's what I looked at basically, was that resurgence of life and how we look at Easter. For example, we can look at the resurrection every day. We can see the resurrection in nature. It's the same hidden principle and secret that is experienced in springtime, from winter to fall to spring to summer. And it's the same principle of the resurrection that is in the transformation of the caterpillar into the butterfly. So these are the resurrection principles that happens in nature all the time. I think that sometimes we need to go back and look at as simple, basic lessons, or else we surely might miss the cosmic message, instead of looking at the traditional perfunctory of something that happened 2,000 years ago. I think the most important thing is, what does it mean to you and me today? April 3rd, 2016, or last week on that date. What does it mean to you and me today? When we look at a resurrection, we're not looking at what might have happened to Jesus, but what was the eternal message of the resurrection principle? That's what we want to know. What was the eternal message? And that's exactly what I speak about in my teachings, Cindy. I think the most important thing we have to look at is, I know there are some words that's often overlooked. These words is 4 words. Cease clinging to me. Cease clinging to me. Stop holding on. And that's precisely what a lot of people have done. They've held on to Jesus. They've been holding on. They've been looking to him, worshiping the pointer. The teacher points to the truth. The student worships the pointer. And so we have to look at it when he says, I must go away that I might come again. In other words, getting the physical, personal self out of the way so that the radiant Christ self can manifest. So when we talk about a resurrection or a resurgence, Easter has everything to do with Jesus. But for most of us, it has had very little to do with us. Very little. And so then people don't get that. What was the eternal secret? Cindy, I once knew a family who had inherited a piano, an old piano, and there it sat in the living room. It was a source of great pride for them, and they waxed it and regularly tuned it, but no one in the house knew how to play it, except one member of the family who could thump out a passable version of My Country 'Tis of Thee. So this magnificent instrument that could have filled the house with joyful music, it sat silent and unheard. It's just if you ask the average person in church, what's it all about? They'll probably say that it commemorates Jesus' resurrection from the tomb. Or they might add that it gives promise to some future existence. But do you know, Cindy, that it has almost nothing to say to the immediate moment? It's like the family with the piano. They only knew one tune.
Yeah, so beautifully put. I know that you and your journey love to write, and I just really honor the fact that you're also a wonderful editor, and you started Raven Press, and that was a brilliant idea.
It's Delane Publishing. It's Delane Publishing.
Delane Publishing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And tell me about Delane Publishing and what you've been doing with Delane Publishing.
It's the subsidiary. What I'm doing is I'm helping others, writers, get their start and taking them to maximum level on their own journeys. Many writers will never get a 6 or 7 figure contract. But to help someone achieve their ideas or dreams in print, it means everything to them to see their work in print, to see their dream come true. And so if I could be able to assist them in that, then I think that I'm doing part of the work here that I've come to do. And I think that's wonderful.
You do a beautiful journey with people, and if anyone ever wants to come to Maui, I suggest you contact Dr. Ayin Adams, because she, especially if you're going to work on a book, because she kind of walks you through the whole process here and guides you spiritually, to find out the best way to do that as well. And you certainly have figured out lots of ways to do that. You've gotten some wonderful recognition and awards over time. And I know that, when you put a book, it usually sells out very quickly here in the local stores as well. So that's an accomplishment that I know a lot of people who are listening want to put out their first book or have put out their first book and nowhere, and they kind of going, well, that was a mistake. What did I do that for? I spent this time and money and no one bought a book. That happens all the time, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's a whole lot too. You have the marketing side of it. You have to, and you have to sell it. You have to go before your audience. So yeah. So an interesting study, interesting, phenomenal, what's happening. Yeah. So I'll share with you one poem.
Okay, great.
This was the Easter morning poem. A garden inside me, unknown, secret, neglected for years, layers of its soil deep and thick. Trees in the corner with branching arms and the tangled briars like broken nets. Sunrise through the mystic orchard. Morning sun turns silver on the pointed twigs. I have woken from the sleep of ages. I have woken from the sleep of ages. And I am not sure if I am. I am not sure if I am really seeing or dreaming or simply astonished. Walking towards sunrise, to have stumbled into the garden where the stone was rolled from the tomb of longing.
That's very, see, now people could hear in that moment the power of Dr. Ayin Adams. Just amazing, powerful performance, and just totally stepping out into that true power of who you are, and I don't have that. I mean, as much as I write, and as much as I talk, and I talk a lot on lots of radio shows, I have never had that ability that you just expressed to be able to really speak so powerfully. It's just very stunning, Ayin.
Well, thank you. I realize that, recognizing that the innermost essence of life, the soul or spirit, we have that supreme reality. It's like saying, what is man? Man is an idea in the infinite mind of God that expresses itself like the symphony in the mind of the composer. That's who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
Our events, our events and circumstances of life, they're shaped and molded. Almost as musical sounds follow the notes sounded in consciousness.
When did you what were some of the peak experiences you had in metaphysics when your mystical connection to God kind of clicked in? Could you share a few of the moments, and were they in meditation, how you achieved those points?
A lot of it came from, first of all, through being out in nature. Sensing and feeling and knowing my oneness with all. So that came into that. Then it was followed by the visualization and taking that time daily, which is working through the practice of meditation. But inside of meditation, visualizing or imaging exactly what it is, what I'm seeing. and quieting the mind, stilling the mind. And so I was able to see more, to do more, and eventually to be more, because I was able to tap something which was already seeking expression through me. I didn't know it was there. I just kept going after what I was feeling, and it was feeling good. I also realized that when the sound of negativism is sound, that begins to shape and move themselves accordingly. You know, we're told, as within, so without. And I began to realize that even in health, you know, in our oneness, in the wholeness, living as the life force within the body, you know, the body, the mind, and the soul. And again, this is something that Dr. Masters taught. And realizing that you can trace the cause of any illness or injustice or lack, you'll find that along the lines of causes, there are a few notes off pitch. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that if I were to correct the inharmony, you find the symphony coming forth to make all things right. And then this is the awakening. This is the aha moment. Is that was a divine plan for my life. The symphony is me. In a very real sense, going back to the Psalms, I am God's melody of life. God, the infinite composer and director, is singing her song through me. And my part was to cultivate the receptivity, which was nature, which was meditation, which was my prayer, which was the visualization. And that's how I was able to cultivate the receptivity. I was to listen to the progression of the harmony. And despite knowing what was happening around me or the challenges of the discords of life that was going on, through the law, through spiritual law, I was always what I was created to be. And so my expression has always been, everything is in divine order, in spite of appearances. And although I would say that all the time, I had begun to take it into my being and realize that everything truly is in divine order, in spite of the appearances. And so it was this kind of mystical reasoning, Cindy. It was this kind of a transcendental logic, you know, that helped me to understand myself, that helped me to understand my relationship to life and my oneness with God.
Is that why you did the book Good Orderly Direction? That seems is that part of that process described in your book Good Orderly Direction?
The Good Orderly Direction came out of as a therapist counseling with a lot of individuals, a lot of meditations, a lot of prayers, a lot of visualizations. This was channeled to me. And again, cultivating the receptivity in Eyal Valley, in Sacred Eyal Valley in Maui, where I lived, and going there daily, that became my bread, my food. And that's how the book was born, is just listening to the progression of the harmony, which was the good orderly direction. And I was being directed.
You know, I love Eyal Valley as well, and I love walking and out in nature, and we're so blessed here on Maui to have these just beautiful divine power spots where the nature spirits are so alive, and there's just such peace and harmony. And for the rest of the world, I mean, oh gosh, I hope there's always a place that people can go to get back in touch with that good early direction, the harmony. The healing that comes from nature that you so beautifully express in many of your poems. I know a lot of your poems actually, some of them actually include some dedications and talk about Eyal, but it is true. And you know, there's a lovely saint, Hildegard of Bingen, who in the 1100s would go out and feel the same way, and she'd do healing, and she really honored nature. As one of her major influences. There's a lot of people who are in tune with the spirit of Mother Earth, realizing that spirit of God is alive in nature, and that can be your church, that can be your cathedral.
Yes, absolutely, and it is. It is for a for most